Just when you think it can't get any worse, Hillary Clinton shows up again, like a bad nightmare. We're going to play the clip for you and answer perhaps one of the most critical questions at this exact moment. What is that thing on his nose? I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Welcome to the program, friend. All right, so last night I'm putting up cereal on a big high shelf, 3 containers, big Tupperware containers, and squeezing them, and one popped out, hit me on the glasses, cut a big gash in my nose, and my wife did immediate surgery, pulling together the flesh with these bandages that are made for that. So hopefully I won't have too bad of a scar. I can continue with my perfect face for radio otherwise. All right, let's talk about Hillary Clinton. Quick backdrop. As you know, over the past few months, the Democrat Party, their leaders and their activists have been lurching towards mob-type activity. I don't mean organized crime. I mean like random crazy mobs, like French Revolution-type mobs. And you have Maxine Waters saying, confront them anywhere you can, go after them, let them know they're not going to be welcome here. You have the incident caught on tape with Ted Cruz and his wife. You have crazy women pounding on the door of the Supreme Court, disrupting the Kavanaugh hearings repeatedly, which, by the way, I respect. And the person who was arrested for having released, if my facts are right, released the phone numbers and addresses of certain senators. The Democrat operatives are coming unhinged. And they're moving towards not just mob activity, but lurching towards violence. All right? That's the direction we're headed. And you might have heard, and then I'm going to play this clip from Hillary, you might have heard in the last 24 hours, a man was arrested in upstate New York who was planning on blowing himself up. He had 200 pounds of black powder. He was going to blow himself up on the Washington Mall on Election Day because he didn't like the direction the country was going. All right? So it's safe to say that he doesn't like President Trump. Now, let's come back to Hillary. In my gut, I believe she is going to run again. I think that she's going to run again. And her strategy will be to just outlast all of her contenders. She has the ability to raise more money than any of the lesser lights that are in this contest. So last count was well over 20 Democrats are considering running in 2020. The sum total of them combined could probably not raise as much money as Hillary could. And money is the mother's juice of politics. So if she decides to run again, she'll just start raising money. She'll go to the radical left and say, I'm your person. I've got the experience. I know what it's like to be an abused woman, to be maligned, to be falsely accused. She'll do this song and dance about how better the country would have been had she won the election, and let's get rid of Trump together. All right. Put Hillary together with this mob-type activity. Now watch this clip from CNN. And listen to your ear, or rather, not just listen with your ears, but listen to the code language that she is talking about.
Do you see any way, even a conservative think who I was speaking of yesterday said the only way to repair America is to try to get back to some civility and to try to make it that even if we have political disagreements, we're not going to war with each other. We're not trying to destroy each other.
Well, certainly, I would love to see us return to civility, listening to one another, working out our differences. That is not the Republican Party that exists today, and that is certainly not the administration that we have in power right now. When the Republican Senate denied the right of President Obama to have his nominee for the Supreme Court, Merrick Garland, heard.
I think you even wrote that they stole a justice from the Democratic Party.
I think they did. I mean, to keep a Supreme Court seat open for a year, to deny a distinguished jurist, they could have voted him down. They could have said, well, for ideological reasons, philosophical reasons, we're not going to vote for him. But no, they stonewalled. And that was such a breach of Senate ethics and the constitutional responsibility of the Senate to advise and consent on nominations, that you cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about. That's why I believe if we are fortunate enough to win back the House and/or the Senate, that's when civility can start again. But until then, the only thing that the Republicans seem to recognize and respect is strength.
All right. Christiane Amanpour asks a valid question. And Hillary jumps to President Obama and the Supreme Court Justice that Mitch McConnell said, we're just never going to let you have a vote. All right, we're not going to let Justice Scalia's seat be taken over by a left-wing lunatic. And that's the type of people that Obama was putting on the court. The Kagans, etc. Left-wing lunatics. So that was just politics. All right? They didn't go after the Supreme Court nominee and say all kinds of atrocious things about him. You never saw people building statues of Obama and saying, urinate here, like they're doing in New York City right now. You know that, right? They're putting up statues of President Trump and saying, urinate here. Encouraging people to urinate on the bust of the President of the United States. Just let the full weight of that sink in. Can you imagine if we had done that during the Obama administration? Or burned him in effigy, or hung him in effigy, or cut his head off in effigy, like lunatic Democrats are doing. So I was an Obama opponent from square one. As some of you remember, I ran against him in several states in the Democrat primary, running ads showing aborted babies, showing the threat of Islam, saying that Obama is an evil man. And he was an evil man, and he is still an evil man. But that's politics. We didn't degenerate on the right and in the Republican Party or with independents or with Tea Party people. We didn't degenerate anywhere near the level which the angry mobs of the Democrat Party to which they have degenerated. Now, think of that last clip with Hillary. I'm going to play that clip again when we come back. But what she did is she gave permission to be uncivil. She gave permission. She gave it her imprimatur. She said, listen, these people are trying to destroy everything we stand for. We're not going to be civil. Now, I've got to take a break, but I want to at least entertain during the next segment using her logic for our agenda. Don't go away. Warrior guitars. Without question, the best guitar I've ever played, heard, or seen is a Warrior. The owner of Warrior, Jay Dran, has an incredible testimony of redemption and healing. God gave him the vision to start Warrior Guitars and a passion to make the best guitars in the world. They only make about 120 guitars a year, each one by hand. Maybe one of them could be yours, or a once-in-a-lifetime gift for someone you love.
The one thing that I can tell you is this is the most finely crafted guitar I have ever held. I've played a lot of guitars, I own a lot of guitars, and although the quality is exceptional on all of them, this is by far the most finely crafted instrument I own or have ever played. And I'm glad I own it.
Contact my friends at Warrior Guitar. Tell them Randall Terry sent you. Friend, you have to forgive me. If I'm salivating, it's because I want Hillary to run again. I want her to win the nomination. I want to trounce her, and I at least want to entertain the discussion of using the ideology and the battle plan that she just articulated about a lack of civility. Listen, remember, the reason we have elections is so we don't have to kill people. All right? No kidnappings, no disappearances, no threats of bodily harm, no killing of dynasties and entire families like in the Russian Revolution. We have elections, all right? But Hillary is saying maybe we need elections and. So let's play that clip again and look for the and.
That you cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about. That's why I believe if we are fortunate enough to win back the House and/or the Senate, that's when civility can start again. But until then, the only thing that the Republicans seem to recognize and respect is strength.
Do you see what she did there? She equated the lack of civility with what? Force. The only thing they understand is strength. Now, we use that type of language when we're dealing with enemies at a time of war, when we're dealing with terrorists. The only thing ISIS understands is strength. The only thing they understand is force. So what she's saying is that for us to have civility, we have to win. All right, we're not going to be civil. And that this protest mob mentality, this use of force, that's what Republicans respond to. That's what we need to keep doing. Now, she gave permission to the left. I don't think she meant to give permission to people like, I don't know, some really intense right-wing people. But what she's saying is that if you don't like the direction of the country, if you don't like what a party is doing to the things that you cherish, that's time to throw the switch off that says civility. So, for those of you who don't like the fact that it is no longer allowed for children in a public school to pray together and have a teacher lead the Lord's Prayer, something so dangerous as the words of Jesus. For those of you who really don't like the fact that it's against the law to read the Gospels or to read the Sermon on the Mount in a public school, maybe it's time that you threw away civility. Maybe the only thing that Democrats understand is force and strength. For those of you who don't like the fact that the sacrament, the covenant of marriage, has been thrown underfoot in ways that are too perverse to even speak about on this television program, maybe it's time to use Hillary's logic to cast off civility, to cast off common decency and restraint, because you despise, you hate, you fear for the direction that the country is going. For those of you who don't like the brutal murder of innocent babies, their heads being cut off, their limbs being torn off, their mangled bodies being flushed into sewers, put in garbage dumps, or sold on the open market through Planned Parenthood and its body brokers. For those of you who don't like the direction of the country that the Democrat Party has been taking us in for some 50 years now, maybe it's time for you to cast off the shackles of civility. Because maybe the only thing the Democrats understand is a lack of civility. And I have said, and I will say it again right now, how can you respect people that want to butcher children? How can you respect a party that wants to put us at risk by embracing Islam, a religion, a philosophy, an ideology that is self-consciously committed to our enslavement or to our destruction? How can you talk to people like that? How can you be civil with somebody who wants to betray the commandments of God, shed innocent blood, put Christianity at risk? How can you respect them? How can you be civil with them? Now, when President Trump gave his speech in Mississippi a couple of weeks ago, he gave permission, I talked about it on this program, by him saying about Christine Blasey Ford, oh, how did you get there? I don't know. Who took you home? I don't know. Where was the house? I don't know. What house was it? I don't know. What was the neighborhood? I don't know. He teased her, okay? And of course, the left wing was enraged. How dare he do this? What he did was he gave people permission to question her story. Hillary has just given permission to the lunatic left to not only keep up their despicable antics, but to raise the ante. So, it's worth discussing. There has to be a discussion. And I'm going to tell you something right now. That clip of Hillary saying those words is being played right now as we speak. That clip is being played by people in a room that despise her, despise the Democrat Party, despise those people that want to take our Second Amendment rights, God-given rights away to keep and bear arms. And they're snickering, and they're making jokes, and they're making offhanded comments about what it will mean if they turn the tables. Is this what Hillary wants to unleash? Does she want bloodshed? I mean, the man who was going to blow himself up and God knows who with him, he didn't want to be civil. He didn't like the direction of the country. He was reading off of Hillary's cue card ahead of time. What will it mean for us, friends, if this is the path that we take? But at the end of the day, there are things that are eternally right. There are things that are eternally wrong. And if history is going to judge us harshly, which it probably will, I think that history will judge us the way it judges the Christian churches of Germany in 1936 and 1937 and 1938, when they could have stopped what came. We know it as the Holocaust and World War II. They could have stopped it had they but been a little less civil. I'll be right back. Have Muslim terrorists hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam? Or is there more to the story? The answer lies in the life of one man, Muhammad, the founder of Islam. Muslim terrorists see themselves inside a 1,400-year-old story, a narrative that focuses on specific events in the life of Muhammad. We are going to look at Muhammad's life using their most sacred literature. We will look at Muhammad at the Battle of Badr. We'll see him deal with those who mock him. We'll see the times when he used deception. We'll witness Muhammad's anti-Semitism. And yes, we will discuss Muhammad and his teachings concerning sex, slavery, and jihad. Friend, if you want to understand Islamic terrorism, get this series today. Very well, Hillary, I accept. I accept your invitation. I accept your new rules. And for you Democrat operatives that are watching this, let me tell you what I hope to set in motion. There are going to be a plethora of God-hating, evil-doing, blood-shedding Democrats running for the presidency in 2020. And I will encourage my friends to greet them on their campaign stops with as little civility as possible. In this way, all right? Not violence, but to just have bullhorns ready to go, big signs of aborted babies, maybe some really horrific signs of the militant homosexuals, and then to just denounce them and to do everything in our power to disrupt their political rallies, okay? Let's just do that. Let's do to them what they've been doing. And by the way, I do believe it's a part of a political discourse. We won't go to Hillary's home. We won't threaten her with violence. We won't even make a statue of her for people to urinate on. Now, there may be people who do that are out of my control and that I will not be leading. You guys know who you are, and I frankly don't want to go down that path. I just don't. But I do know what it's like to be a political and social activist. And I know what it's like to steal headlines. We did this with Rudy Giuliani in 2004. We disrupted every campaign stop we possibly could with bullhorns and said he's a fake Republican. He is a baby killer. He does not deserve the presidency of the United States. We must do everything we can to defeat him. And we chased him around the state of Florida and watched his numbers drop 1 to 2 points a day as we captured headlines and exposed him for what he was, which was the crazy aunt in the basement, okay? Don't give the keys to the car to the crazy aunt in the basement. Every family's got a crazy aunt or a crazy uncle. You don't give them the keys to the car. You don't make them the leader of the clan. And that's what Rudy Giuliani wanted to be. And so we went after him politically. Some people thought that we were not civil. They were very upset that we were doing this. It worked. That's politics. That's elections. Hillary, we take your invitation. And I will also encourage some of my friends, as I did in 2008, to run for federal office and to run ads on television, on radio, that call you people out for what you are. Despicable, God-hating enemies of the Constitution of the United States, enemies of life, enemies of freedom, enemies of the Bill of Rights. You are the enemy. And since you have committed yourself, you're hell-bent to destroy everything that we cherish and that we hold sacred, and you've given permission to use this level of incivility, as you want to call it. Very well, we accept. We'll see you in 2020. I'll be right back, friends. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, "I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life." Best-selling author Dr. Bill Warner said, "What Would Mohammed Do is the best movie series, TV production on the life of Muhammad and Islamic terrorism that has ever been produced." Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700, or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Friend, we have a series that will help you and those you love to have an impact on this country. It's called Insurrecta Nex. That's Latin for revolution against the killing of innocent people. This is the history, the philosophy, and the theology of social revolution in America. We will send you this 14-part TV series along with these manuals for students, a teacher's facilitator guide for only $40. Go to 304-289-3700, 304-289-3700. Welcome back, friend. I'm almost out of time. I'm going to read to you from Isaiah 59 to prove a point about our problem. First, let's talk about the Democrats. Their feet rush into sin. They are swift to shed innocent blood. They pursue evil schemes. Acts of violence mark their ways. The way of peace they do not know. There is no justice in their paths. They have turned them into crooked roads. No one who walks along them will know peace. Listen to this. So justice is far from us, and righteousness does not reach us. We look for light, but all is darkness. For brightness, but we walk in dark or in deep shadows. Like the blind, we grope along the wall, feeling our way like people without eyes. At midday, we stumble as if it were twilight. Among the strong, we are like the dead. The Democrats, people who are baby killers, this speaks of who they are. The problem is, Isaiah hits on it, among the vigorous, one of the translations says, they're vigorous for evil. We, the righteous, are like the dead. The wicked strut about on every side when the vilest of men are exalted, the scripture says. The problem has been for 40 years now that most righteous people don't want to engage these God haters. We're afraid of bad press. We're afraid of people not liking us. We're afraid of confrontation. We're afraid of conflict. And so we set courage aside and create a theology of escape and retreat and acquiescing to their evil demands. If you want the nation to keep going the way it's going, keep doing what you're doing. But if we want the nation to turn around, then we have to thank God for the election of President Trump, and let's engage them. Let's not be like the dead anymore. Let's be like the vigorous, only for righteousness. God bless you.